Hello and welcome. In this video, instead of delving into various historical and ethnographic sources to decipher the meanings and symbolism of Slavic deities, we will explore the symbolic significance behind the iconography of the highest Slavic sky god. But before we proceed, I just want to express my gratitude to all those who support the World Tree on Patreon. Your contributions are what keeps this channel alive, basically, so thank you very much. And if you're interested in becoming an honorary patron yourself and gaining access basically to exclusive content and supporting the World Tree project, please check out the link in the description below. So let's proceed with this video. Historical records of the Slavic tribes inhabiting the Baltic Sea region, particularly on the Rugen island of present-day Germany, mentioned the god Sventovit. His idol is described as having 4 heads, gazing in different directions, and he held the status as the highest Slavic deity. However, researchers suggest that Sventovit's name originated later and was specific to those tribes who lived in this area, therefore it was a local name for a deity, likely a variation of the more widespread Slavic god, most likely or probably Perun. This is supported by the discovery of idols with 4 faces found across all Slavic territories, despite the absence of the name Sventovit. While most of these idols are miniature, the Zbruch idol is notable for its complexity. I've already covered the symbolism of the Zbruch idol in a separate video, so be sure to check it out. However, we will turn later on to the Zbruch idol again. Based on the historical sources and archaeological evidence, it has been concluded that one of the symbolic depictions of this highest Slavic god, who had the role of a sky god, a sky father, was with 4 faces or 4 heads, each facing a different direction of the world. This mythical image is essentially composed of the 3 elements: the vertical pillar, several human heads placed at the top, always facing in different directions, and the pillar's phallic shape, which is the most common. In this video, we will delve into the meaning of these symbolic elements, starting off with the pillar. At its core, the pillar embodies the abstract concept of the vertical axis, which, if reduced to 1 dimension, obtains the meaning of a point. It represents the center of both the universe and the individual's subjective experience. It serves as a symbolic link between the macrocosm, that is to say the universe, and the microcosm, that is to say man, symbolizing the point of identification for the individual within the cosmos. Subjectively, the pillar symbolizes the individual, the point from which the world is observed and revolves. Placing a central pillar reflects humanity's subconscious need to define and represent the point in its body where its self resides. Through this projection, it not only identifies its individual determination within the body, but also within the broader universe. Humans, unlike most beings, have an innate sense of standing upright, which influences their perception of self as connected to a vertical axis. This inner concept drives them to project it outward, marking spaces they consider their own with this axis. This axis is afterwards imbued with numinosity and elements like the soul, the source, the divine, such as, for example, identifying the main domestic pillar as the spirit of the household. This axis extends to larger spaces, marking centers like sacred circles or pillars in newly settled lands. Man constantly seeks these axes in his universe. To encompass all the landscapes of the macrocosm, he extends it infinitely in both directions, upwards to the boundless celestial heights, and downward to the dark depths of the underworld. The center, or axis, begins as an abstract concept before being objectified in a specific object with a vertical character. Initially, natural objects like tall trees or mountains served this purpose of cosmic axis, reflecting an early stage of the symbolism's development. Later on, humans constructed large buildings such as central, pyramidal, or columnar structures with cult purposes to embody these symbolic meanings. Let's now shift our focus to the second symbolic element, which is the human head or face. These elements carry a broad spectrum of meanings derived from their actual form, traits, and functions. One of the primary attributes of the Indo-European Skyfather, who serves as the precursor to many European supreme deities, including those in Slavic mythology, is light. Therefore, it's reasonable to expect that it would be also portrayed in the mythical depictions of this deity. When attempting to visually represent abstract phenomena such as the impact and the auditory manifestation of thunder, our ancestors often resorted to the concrete objects like hammers and axes or stones, which produce such sounds. However, when it comes to daylight, which cannot be visually represented as a product of lightning, the sun, or domestic fire, the mythical consciousness turns to objects that perceive the light, being the eyes and the gaze, using them as symbols of light's presence. The significance of the eye, the gaze, and the face as symbols of light is evident in the contrast of blindness. In our myths, blindness symbolizes the absence of light, when in darkness or night, hence the expression "night is blind." As a result, chthonic deities and mythical figures linked to dark spaces are often portrayed as blind. Therefore, multiple faces encircling the cosmic pillar overlooking the four corners of the earth symbolize the all-encompassing, ever-present gaze of the deity, representing the light that fills every part of the universe. That this trait was indeed characteristic of the supreme Slavic deity is illustrated in a legend from modern-day Macedonia known as Jana's tombstone or Janina ploča. According to the legend, a maiden named Jana was buried under a large stone resembling a tombstone. Her tragic fate stemmed from the conflict between two dragons, her father residing atop a mountain peak named Perun, and another dragon with a calf head dwelling in the depths of the waters within a cave. This narrative presents a local variation of the classic battle between the storm god and his dragon adversary found in many European and Indo-European myths. The tale vividly describes the Perun dragon by saying that his eyes emitted light that could be seen from afar in all the colors of the rainbow. However, this light represents not just physical illumination, but also abstract concepts like consciousness, order, and harmony found throughout the universe. Thus, using the human head or face as its symbol may have been motivated by this broader intellectual dimension of light, reflecting the cosmic order upheld by the supreme deity. The head being the head or the main element of the human body where the individual's personality resides along with the sense of order and justice, is symbolically represented to denote the presence of essential aspects. If the pillar is considered the spine or the axis of the cosmos, the sanctuary or the house, then the head represents the mind which governs and directs these spaces, symbolizing the head of the world or the head of the house. In other words, the multiplicity of a deity's faces or heads atop the cosmic axis looking towards the cardinal directions does not represent the fragmentation of the deity itself, but the omnipresence of its gaze through which the entire cosmos is filled with consciousness, light, order, and life force. It embodies the supreme intellect and guiding force of the deity that governs the universe. Historical sources mention polycephalic deities and their idols among the Baltic Slavs, with various numbers of heads, but archaeology confirms their presence across all Slavic regions. Perun is also associated with multiple heads or faces, likely 4, as indicated by the phrase Perun jest mnog, meaning Perun is many, noted in a Russian manuscript from the 15th century. This multiplicity is reflected in the dedication of Thursday, that is to say, Thor's Day, the 4th day of the week, to Perun, known as Perundan among the Polabian Slavs, whose language is now extinct, by the way. This feature is even more clearly represented in Perkunas, the Baltic equivalent of Perun, about whom the sources say Perkunas is fourfold: the first in the east, the second in the west, the third in the south, and the fourth in the north. Many of you have likely heard of the cosmic axis being represented as a tree, a stone, a pillar, a mountain, and other things. However, you may be unfamiliar with it being depicted as an erect phallus. Yes, you are indeed watching a video from the World Tree, where we delve into the symbolism of macrocosmic phalluses. In the evolution of male deities, 2 key phases emerge. Initially, humans associated energetic phenomena that construct life with the male procreative power. Later, they recognized this power as a manifestation of the fundamental life-giving force, leading them to seek their origin in the broader universe once more. The fundamental essence of the male principle resides in its innate creative capacity, specifically in its ability to bestow life. This trait, although imperceivable and intangible to ancient humans, stems from their understanding of the male's role in fertilization and procreation, which was mysterious and enigmatic. The male executes this function through sperm, whose efficacy is not rooted in its material composition, but rather in the mysterious and intangible spiritual energetic essence it carries within. The sky shares similar qualities. It is intangible, it is bright and translucent. Like men, it's a source of life-giving forces such as sunlight, rain and lightning. What fills this space during its active phase is essential, and that is daylight, symbolizing vitality and creation. Therefore, light, represented by the color white, emerges as a primary element in all processes of initiation and creation shared by both the microcosm, that is to say human or animal sperm, and the macrocosm, that is to say daylight. Just as the absence of morning light would plunge the world into darkness, the absence of the male luminous fluid would sever the life thread of humans and animals. This equivalence of light and sperm is characteristic to many cultures, and in many myths, light is a force which penetrates into a woman's womb. Several tumuli and other ancient sites in Europe, symbolically regarded as the entrance to the underworld and the womb of Mother Earth, are illuminated by the sun during solstices or equinoxes, symbolizing the fertilization of Mother Earth by the light. A particularly intriguing example is the Utroba cave or womb cave located in Bulgaria. This cave likely served as a Thracian sanctuary, with its entrance initially a narrow slit that was later widened by human hands and shaped into a vulva. Inside, a tall altar has been carved. The cave's vulva-like shape and its interior resembling a uterus are illuminated by sunlight streaming through an opening in the ceiling. At noon each day, the light creates a symbolic phallus of light, but it only reaches the altar on one specific day of the year, which is the winter solstice. In European cultures, this meaning has partially survived through some myths, such as Zeus and his golden rain, with which he impregnated DNA, but the same mythical prototype can be found in the Immaculate Conception of the Virgin Mary. Ancient Iranian traditions suggest a connection between sperm and some cosmic elements. The Avesta mentions that the seed of the first man and bull was formed from celestial light and freshness. According to legend, after Geomard, the first man, died, his seed was purified in the light of the sun before being returned to the ground, where it lay buried for 40 years. From this spot, a rhubarb plant grew. Ormazd later created the first pair of humans, male and female, from the rhubarb plant that sprouted from Geomard's seed. Therefore, we observe that the male life-giving force is linked to the representation of the cosmic axis as an erect phallus in Slavic mythology, underlying various mythical images. This representation continues the line of meaning which we previously explored. Therefore, in addition to embodying the concept of the pillar, the phallus symbolizes the fundamental function of the supreme deity, the creation of the universe through the male principle. Combining the male genital organ with symbols representing the center of the universe also signifies the source from which daylight, equated with sperm, emanates, giving rise to the entire universe. While most miniature idols hint at phallic symbolism, the medieval pagan Slavic stone idol from Zbruch explicitly embodies the macrocosmic phallus. The idol, a large stone pillar divided into 3 parts symbolizing the layers of the Slavic cosmos, features 4 faces and 4 figures at the top, representing various deities. Boris Rybakov's first level of interpretation suggests that the top level depicts Slavic deities in celestial spheres facing the cardinal points, while the second level of interpretation unites them as the 4 faces of an all-encompassing god. The third level abstracts the anthropomorphic elements, revealing the phallic contour of the idol, symbolizing the life-giving function of the supreme god, equated with the active male principle. On a verbal level, as the best parallel to these proposed meanings, one can take the myth of Shiva's phallus, recorded in Shiva Purana and Linga Purana. The tale unfolds with the supreme gods Vishnu and Brahma engaging in a dispute over their significance. In the midst of their argument, a flaming pillar materializes, stretching infinitely in both directions. Determined to find its origins, the gods transform into animals and set out on a quest. Vishnu becomes a boar and goes into the depths of the underworld, while Brahma takes the form of a swan and ascends to the heavens. Despite their exhaustive journeys, they fail to uncover the boundaries of the pillar and return empty-handed. It is then that Shiva emerges from the pillar, revealing that it is actually his phallus. With this revelation, Shiva claims the title of the most significant deity in the universe. This concept is particularly evident in this Bruchidal's cosmological depiction, where the three distinct zones of the universe are vertically delineated, mirroring Shiva's phallus extending infinitely upward and downward. In the case of the Baltic and indirectly the Slavic multiplicited Perun, this representation is horizontal, with the individual aspects of the god aligned with the four cardinal points of the world. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope that from this video you gained some deeper insight into the meaning of this mythical image. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing and supporting the channel in any way that you can. But especially if you want to support its existence, you can become an honorary patron of the World Tree. And if you want to learn more about Slavic mythology, about symbolism, rituals, and so forth, feel free to explore my books through the links provided below. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.